This is a DIY LED neon sign which is motion activated when someone enters the room. So in this short video I will explain how I built such a logo and how you can do it yourself. Let's jump right in.
Smart home maker, rock the beat. Innovation at your feet. Build it up, don't complicate. Home solutions, you're the mate.
What do we need to get this project started? First of all, we need some flexible LED filament. So those are like LED wires, and those are also used for some LED light bulbs which have a vintage look, and you see these filament wires inside. This can be also bought standalone, those LED filament wires, and in my case I bought a 10-pack. And it was perfect because the word smart home that I'm about to build has exactly 10 letters, but it depends on your use case, how many filament wire strings you need. And those work in a way that they are kind of filled with very small LEDs. And if you apply a voltage on the left and right side, of course in the correct direction, then they will glow. And that's perfect for our use case. Second, we need a PIR motion sensor. You can also buy those for a very cheap price online. In my case, I chose the HCSR501 PIR motion sensor, and this motion sensor is quite simple. The cool thing is you can adjust the sensitivity and also the delay for how long it will be actually activated once some motion has been detected, and then it just has 3 input-output pins, and so you have to apply a voltage with VCC and ground, and it has an output pin which tells you whether it's activated or not. Then we also need an NPN transistor. We need a transistor that is capable of handling at least 12 volts. We need some copper wire and also some insulated wires. We need a resistor, let's say about 100 or 200 ohms, maybe even less, depending on how bright your LEDs should shine. We also need some smaller batteries, and in my case I chose 12 volt high voltage batteries because those are really small. That was the reason I chose them, and they still have a lot of capacity, maybe higher capacity than a button cell, so that's why I chose those 12 volt batteries, but you can choose any type of battery that you want. And then you need some soldering equipment, also with some soldering wire. You need a hot glue gun and some hot glue. We need a 3D printer and some filament. If you don't have that, you could also go to a 3D printing service online, but you need 2 kind of colors. You need any color for the base housing, like black, white, or even like violet, red, or whatever you like, and you need some transparent filament for the upper part of the letters to make the LED light shine through. And we need some shrink tube and insulating tape in order to insulate our wires. This is our wiring scheme. On the left side of the diagram you can see the PIR motion sensor from behind. And what I already explained in the parts section, you can see that there are 2 possibilities to adjust. First of all, the sensitivity, that means how sensitive it will react to motion, and also the delay, so that will mean how long it will actually stay activated once it has detected motion. And then there are 3 output pins, or actually 2 input pins for the input voltage, which is ground and 12 volt input in this case. And in the center there is the out pin, and this out pin will go high as soon as motion will be detected. We will then put this in a circuit. We have our power source, which are the 2 12 volt batteries, or at least one of those. You don't need 2, but at least one. Then we have our 12 volts line on the kind of right side, and we have our ground line on the left side. And then we have one long ground line and one long kind of power line on the back side of the LED neon sign. And we can connect the filament strings to the ground and to the positive voltage side. But of course, we cannot just directly connect the battery 12 volts to the LED filament, because otherwise they would be always activated. And that's why we will put the transistor in between. So the transistor will only be activated if the output pin of our PIR motion sensor will go high. And by this, we can ensure that the neon sign will only be activated if there is motion detected in the room. So this is the 3D version of my neon sign, and I used the word smart home because this could be also interesting to some of you in the community. And also the reason is that I just reused the 3D version of my Smart Home Maker logo that I built in the past, and I just cut off the maker part at the end. And I have split it into two parts with kind of a puzzle logic. The reason is that my 3D printer print plate is not so big, so I cannot put the whole logo in, or otherwise it would be really small. That's why I just split it up, and then I can put those two parts side by side on the print plate. Then on this side of the logo you can see there is space, and this space is for the PIR motion sensor together with the batteries. So you can put the PIR sensor behind, and only the sensor will look out from this hole here. So if I go on the back side, you can see there is some space here for the batteries on top of the, and on bottom the 12 volt batteries, the small ones, and the PIR motion sensor in the middle. And then I had also added some kind of holes here for the cables, but then later on I realized that this is not going to work, but I will explain that. And of course you need some cavity here for the ladders so that you can add the filament LED wires. Printing this would be the first step. You could just choose any color you like. In my case I used white because I just had some white filament at home, but I think in a different color it would even look more interesting and better. And then we have the second part, and that's the transparent lid, which goes on top of the ladders. And you can see that I will just make those parts visible. Then you can see now it's kind of closed, but you can also see that this is just some the ladders in very thin, so you can put them also on the 3D printer and use some transparent filament. And by doing that, you will make sure that the logo will be transparent on the top, so that the LED light can shine through those ladders. Okay, now we throw this onto the printer, and once it has been printed, we will be able to start with the wiring. The wiring is quite simple. So I just put on the bottom side of the back of the sign, I just put a long copper wire, and then on the top side I put a long copper wire as well. Those are my ground and 12 volt levels, kind of. And then I just can connect the LED filament wires in between. So for each ladder, in this case, I chose one LED filament wire. And they were, and this one is not perfect. I mean, they were a little bit too short. So not all the letters were completely filled with the filament. And so if I would do this project again, I would make sure that I have a little longer wires, but it works. And the only thing you have to make sure is that you have the right polarity. Those LED filament wires, they have a little marking which shows you the polarity, so please make sure that the polarity is correct. Next step is to put the thin lids for the letters on top of each letter, and I just use some hot glue in order to stick it on top. Here you can see how the battery is connected. The minus side of the battery goes to the ground copper wire, the long one. The plus side of the battery goes on the one hand to the VCC input of the PIR motion sensor, and also it goes on the other hand to the collector input of the transistor. And then we also have the signal output of the PIR motion sensor that goes to the base of the transistor, and then the emitter part of the transistor goes to the positive rail, the long copper rail on the backside of the neon sign. And yes, I know it's not perfectly beautiful, and of course you would like to have some kind of housing and enclosure for the back part so that it's not visible. But I mean, for a very first version of this neon sign, I think it's okay and it works, and that's the most important thing. So you have to make sure that you put the sensitivity and also the time delay to a correct spot so that you feel it's okay. So the sensitivity is okay, it will be activated whenever you enter the room, and also the time delay is okay so that it will be activated for a certain time span, and then once there is no motion detected anymore, it will turn off again. And this is the result. You can see that there is now a neon sign with the wording and the font of our choice, and we can put this anywhere in our house. And this, I hope that you like this project. I will definitely make sure that I will provide a link to the step files so you can download the 3D model if you are not able to build your own or you just want to have a quick start. And if you need any help, just let me know in the comments. If you have any further ideas on how to improve this, just let me know, and I hope you like it. And please also subscribe to my channel so that you know about all my future projects and ideas.